to another video game analysis. Yep, here we are. And today we are going to analyze graphics. Let me ask you something. What do you look at on the screen when you play a video game? Graphics. Like, come on, people. Come on, really. Like, really, come on. So yeah, today we're going to take a look, sorry. Today we're going to take a look at all the, well, at least as many graphical things I have to offer you guys. I think I got a good collection here to show off, you know. And because I'm too lazy to switch games from what I had in past episodes, you'll probably see some familiar faces. And I think they'll be nice, you know. Bring you back to memories of older episodes that you probably didn't watch. LOL JK. Anywho, let's get started. Alright, so we're going to skip the first gen because there is no graphics in the first gen. What they used to do is they used to give you wow, no, it's very phlegmy today. That's probably going to be a thing about this episode. But anywho, yeah, so we're going to start with the second gen with the Atari. Let me just get it. Yeah, look at that wood paneled glory in my belly. So, yeah, we're going to start with the Gen 2 with the Atari 2600. That's a 4-bit console. Remember, first gen did not have any graphics. It was mostly just a couple of dots that were programmed to move in certain places. And you had to have overlays to have with pictures on it, and those were basically your graphics. So we're going to play an old classic, Pac-Man Reset. Awesome music. Let's see how, alright, so yeah, like, you can see, very basic. Now, the thing about these games are here, in the 4-bit second gen, is they really are simplistic and a little confusing, and, you know, it required a lot of imagination, you know, being able to decipher what they are, yes, be able decipher what they are, what they do, and, you know, it's cool. These games are very stimulating. They don't give you a very grand experience of what gaming is today, like it does today, but it definitely, I can't tell if it's, I should have played Miss Pac-Man, but you can definitely tell that it's very stimulating. Like, it's a great overall thing to do for, Don't controller. I am blaming the controller. It is not because, this is not because of me. It never goes up. There we go. Yeah. So, as you can see, I still go through any other emotion like any other game. We all know Pac-Man. That's why I decided to do Pac-Man. And I died. That's great. Oh, I get another life. This is probably the only game we'll probably completely play through. Just so we can know. The button, there's the one controller with the button works, and why am I using that? I should have used the one where it's all work. You get my point. Rage quit. 4-bit consoles were the beginning of where modern games were going, and its own graphical limits cause the games to be just, you know what, just like chase another dot and you gotta try and make call up with it. You know. Alright, let's welcome back our pal whoops, almost called him out like a noob. Let's welcome back our pal Link. So let's talk about 8-bit. Now in 8-bit, you can, backgrounds were much more common in the games because you were able to put that in, and the games got much bigger. Very important thing about the 8-bit world is in Atari games for the 2600 and even later on, you only had a certain amount of screens. Like, and I mean, what I mean by screens is the actual screen, you know? It's like in Pac-Man you just have one. But if you played a game like Superman on the Atari 2600, is you have one, then imagine another TV on top of it, Imagine one on its right, one on its left, one underneath it, and one in the diagonal corners. That is an Atari game. And this isn't the best example, Zelda, because it does have that traditional scrolling like that, but that's just but they did that in the game to get you ready, you know? And what's cool about 8-bit games is, well, let's take Mario as a better example. It's not just one screen. You can go through an entire world, you know? That's why I think the levels are called worlds rather than levels in Super Mario Brothers, is because it's literally what you do. You go through worlds, you know? You know? Isn't that awesome? Awesome possum. No, yes. Shield, heart. Anyway, the 8-bit started an idea of stories within the games, like Zelda is a prime example. I guess there is a good reason to have this here. Sliding up. Sword. Ruby! Another one! Oh, snap. What is that here? That clearly went there. 8-bit games had backgrounds, more details on the sprites. In fact, if you ever play the game Adventure on 2600, you're not even a sprite, you're a square, which comes into the imagination. This still requires some imagination, depending on the games. It's like, the Octoroks they keep facing to these things. What are these things? You know what I mean? Rupees! Rupees! Alrighty, righty. Let's say hello to our old friend Sonic. Now, as you can see here, the detail is much, much bigger. You know? Everything has animation, much more animation. Things are a lot clearer. But with the 16-bit, there wasn't much of a difference between the eras of the 8-bit and 16-bit, except for the matters of physics. You see, controllers would get smoother, it'd be simpler to make a game, and that's pretty much what true graphical enhancements are for. You know what I mean? And see, like falling platforms here, that would take a lot of memory, and you know, like the 8-bit games would be very standard in story, where the 16-bit games had much more depth, especially to RPGs like Final Fantasy or something like that. And games like Sonic have so much depth in them, you know? Oh yeah. And right, the detail's amazing. You can see the background movement, like as if it was you running, and things looked incredible. It looked incredible. This also started the Bit Wars, and I think we all can even if you never heard that kind of term. I'm sure other people use it, but that's just what I like to call it. It's like you can definitely think about that. You know, it's like the Bit Wars. That's what I call it. That's what it started. Because like it was about the idea of how good game looks, you know? And there are downsides, especially later on in the Bit Wars, where it became more about the graphics. But overall, it was still about the experience, and it always will be for the true gamers out there. My buddies. 16-bit games are very depth. They have a lot of depth. That's what it is I will say. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Dead. Rage quit. Sound familiar? What? Billy with a working PlayStation game? Yes, I know. That was a failure at Spyro, and I heard I can get a fix at GameStop. I might try that. Oh, what am I doing? Whoopsie daisy and options, missions. I just don't understand. What's the difference between continue a game and load a game? I don't know. So, 32-bit and 64-bit are bundled together. I've showed the 60 and 64 in crossover from 2D to 3D So I'm not going to show that because 32. At this point of the game in the gaming, if you want to describe it as a bit worsening, I consider this the 32 slash 64-bit era. I bundle them together because they really were bundled together. 32-bit games were like either just add-ons that just became its own console, like with the Sega Genesis making the 32X, and by then the Saturn was coming out, which would have been 64. The PlayStation coming out being 32, and there's a lot of them, you know. 32-bit games didn't last that long because the N64. PlayStation's the only one that kept its end of the bargain. You know what I'm saying? I gotta stop saying you know what I'm saying. You know what I'm saying? That was a dumb joke, and I don't know. All right, I can't be a 00 agent. This is a weird game. This is not a racing game. It's called 007 Racing. There is no racing. I'm just shooting a bunch of dudes with a car, and I can only pick one thing. I haven't even gotten through level 1 yet because I just can't figure out dumb controls. Well, they're not hard. It's not the controls itself. It's just how it controls. It's like you really are driving a car, and the environment's like, man, loading time. No. Anyway, so graphics got pretty big at this time. Now 64 is more defined. You can have a lot more color. What PlayStation would do, which is really clever, was take some one of those computerized real life graphics, and kind of like a computer game does, and they would like spread it around, as you can see. And the areas were big. Audio is much better, which is really cool. But the overall thing here with the 32/64-bit is, I believe this started inspiration for modern gaming today. And I didn't say did start. We'll get to that. I said start of modern gaming. This, I feel that, you know, because the games from this era, like Crash Bandicoot, what else? Mario, I'll say even more. Banjo-Kazooie, Spyro, of course. And it's like games like that really made the depth from gaming, and a lot more is possible. See, that's the thing about graphical enhancements, along with memory, is you now have bigger things, you know? Let me try to do something about this. Oh, yeah. Da-da. Awesome music. How do I shoot? Oh, that's how. See, I'm still playing the controls. Die. Oh, I'm still alive? Oh, that's a surprise. Die. Boom. Oh, this is. Once I get the idea of finally what I'm doing, and I died. Oh, it's a fail. I just don't get this game at all. I don't get it. I don't know. Dun. Yeah. Before this getting more awkward, let's move on. Alrighty. Now right here, I'm playing the GameCube right now. This begins, to me, this starts modern gaming. Because after this point, we go into HD graphics, which is today, or standard graphics, just enhanced. It's really the same thing. It's just the definition is higher on HD graphics, obviously. The games are very pretty much interchangeable. Like they're capable of the same kind of stuff. It's all about, like, I like to compare going from post-bit wars, as I call this era, because like no one even described bits anymore. No one cared anymore. It was about, like, look at this, like, wow, you know. Let me just play around. Because this is more of an adventure game. Now this is now you see cinematic ideas are we able to play now? I think there's a cutscene coming up or going on right now. If you ever play Tak, I highly recommend it. It's a lot of fun. It's a Nickelodeon game. Surprisingly, Nickelodeon makes awesome games. Like, I never played one bad SpongeBob game. Like, you see other animations and everything. You can put that in now. There's room for it, and it's pretty cool, don't you think? Oops, accidentally skipped it. Loading screens. Locks training. Oops. Like, look at that. You can voice act too, and it goes into the next thing. Adventures are huger, and there's a lot less imagination for figuring out what things are, but at the same time, it's much more of a interaction type of dealy deal. Like, the imagination's more in getting involved with the game. Like, that's why I said 32/64, and be quiet, I'm trying to talk. Thank you. That's why I said 32/64 inspired modern gaming, and I started because it was all there. It just, there were things missing that made things more modern. And nowadays the gameplay is getting considered too a lot with the introduction of motion control. We're all doing the touchscreen thing now. Cameras, you know, it's pretty cool. Because that's the main thing here about graphics. My main analysis here is not how it looks, it's how each era presents a different form of gaming. Gives you different types of gameplay, different types of games. See, that's the important thing to remember here in this episode. If you want different gaming experiences other than just genres, you go back or you go forward, wherever you're at, you know? That's why I started getting interested in retro gaming. I wanted to experience what it was like to play an Atari game, or a Sega Genesis game, or a 32-bit game. I never played a 32-bit game before the PlayStation, because 32 bits weren't that easy to find. And the characters are much well defined. The action's amazing. Things just get smoother now.
I just thought of something else important to tell you.
Pause. Let's move on, because I'm sick of hearing her talk. Dumb girl. Grrr. So, that just all leads to today. Alrighty. I gotta say alright, too, for every transition. Alright. I did it again. Made another bad joke for you people. I hope you don't want to strangle me. So, right. Every game of graphics gives different limits, different ideas to be given, different stuff, you know, and altogether, if you want an experience with games, a really full one, you should get an understanding what every kind of game is like. And yes, today we have downloads, which I do. I do play them for games I missed out on or never owned or lost. But basically, I always recommend to people, you want to get the system because the games are designed for it, and designed for the controls more importantly. And it really enhances your experience, you know? Because I played Sonic 1 on the GameCube, but there's a huge difference between playing that on the Sega Genesis. And I've played Super Mario Brothers on my Wii, but it's a huge difference to playing on the NES. It is pretty amazing. Yeah, so if you notice it's over 15 minutes and you can see this part, YouTube has just authorized me to go over 15 minutes. I will not overdo it, don't worry. I don't even know what my limit is. Probably a half hour. But I will not do that because you guys have better things to do than watch me do this stuff. I know you do. That's why thank you guys for watching, because I know you got better things to do. I know you guys have lives unlike me. Next time, we're going to look at another important, and I mean important factor of gaming, interaction. See you then.